Baba Batra Perak Vav, Mishnah Zayin, 7th Mishnah, 6th chapter. I'm a Baba Batra. Okay, we're talking about people who have roads or paths in their property. So we talked about the idea of a private path in the property, whether it's on the inside or the outside, and who has the right to walk in it. So now, what happens? If a person has a public path passing through his field, and it just came that way, meaning it was his private field. Everyone agrees that it was his private field, but at some point, people started walking in his field, and it sort of became public thoroughfare. Look at the Bartunur for a second. Shechziku rabim la'avor sham be'olam. That people, it became a chazaka, it became an accepted fact that people are passing there. Now he's like, hey, I want my field back. Nitala v'natan lahem minatzad. It's in the middle of his field, so he says, you know what? Let's move it over to the side. He took the path, closed it off, and he gave them on the side of the field. Masha natan natan. That was a bad move. What he gave, meaning the new side path he gave is given, now becomes public, sort of like public domain. But he doesn't get back what he took back in the middle of his field, even though everyone agrees it was his field. And the public now has two paths, one on the side and one in the middle. Because we learn Meitzar shechziku bo rabim, Meitzar, like a public path that the public has sort of been has a chazakah, meaning it's an established fact that the public has the right. Asur l'kalkala, you can't ruin it. Meaning, once you allow, and so if you're a landowner or you own a yard or whatever, you own a field, and you see people walking through it, you better understand that if you don't stop them now, that's going to become established fact, and you'll never get that back. That's public thoroughfare. So now, derech hayachid, what's the width? If a person sells, if a person sells a path, so let's say people come and say they want to buy the right to walk through your path, and they're going to pay for it. So if it's a private path, arba amot, it's 4 amot wide. It has to be the width, a certain width, I guess, for people to pass with their stuff. Derech harabim, if he sells a public thoroughfare, sheish esrei amot. Reshut harabim is 16 amot. It's very interesting. So you have this sort of like zoning laws. How much is the width of each different kind of path? Derech HaMelech. Derech HaMelech is the king's path. Derech HaMelech is when the king is walking and the king needs to go. They're going to have a king's procession. You know, the president is coming through, the prime minister. Ein la shiur. He has the right of eminent domain. He can take as much space as he wants, in your fields. HaMelech paretz geder la'asot lo derech. The king can take as much as he wants. Derech HaKever ein la shiur. Similarly, if they're walking on the field in order to accompany a mate, somebody who died, ein la shiur, there's no measurement. People can walk on your field, okay? Shenos'im hamet lekvaro, they're carrying the dead to his grave. Ein la shiur, takanat chachamim, and that's a takana, a decree of the sages. Mishum yikara demet, because of the yakrut, because of the preciousness, or we want to honor the dead. They can't just go wherever they want. The people who are accompanying the dead, they can walk on a field. They can walk on the field. You just planted your field. Although, it's interesting. I don't know if they would do that. I guess they would. It was accepted. I guess that was a way of being mechaber amet. They wouldn't go around. They would just go straight into the kever. Hama'amad. We're going to see what ma'amad is, when they would do what's called this procedure of ma'amad. They would stand up. They would stop 7 times. Some say, let's look at the Bartuner, what ma'amad is. Does he say? Beit ma'amadim. Makom ma'amad. What is this ma'amad? Shayu osim shiva ma'amadot. They would do 7 standings. Shiva moshavot, 7 sittings. Shayu chozrim likvor amet, when they would return from burying the dead. Keneged shiva havalim shebitchilat sefer kabbalah. Corresponding to the 7 times. Does it say 7 times? Havel havalim, you'll count it up. That it says 7 times. They had a minhag to do stopping 7 times. So nowadays, at least when I was doing funerals, the minhag that we had, the custom that we had, was we would say Yoshe B'Seit or Yodim, we would stop 7 times. We wouldn't stop and sit down. Apparently, in the times of the Mishnah, was much more. The process was much more pronounced and extended. But when they did the ma'amads, how much space would they have? Dayanei Tzipori Amru, the judges of Tzipori said, Beit Arba Kavim, the area that they would have for this ma'amad, that they would sit down, and I guess they would stop, and they would stand. It had to be the space of 4 kavim. Beit Arba Kavim, the amount of area it would take
to plant 4 kavim. How much is that? It's 33 amot, 33 and 2 tvachim, width by 50 amot. It's a rather large area of space that they would have in order to do this procedure. Stop here, dedicated learning to me and my father, Rab Simcha ben Yitzchak Kaman. Have a good day.